Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rin. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Long time no talk. It's been a while since I've done a voiceover, but circumstances just haven't really given me time to do that. But in today's video, we are starting a new sketchbook. It has been a really long time since I've started a new sketchbook. I had filled up my black one that I've been using for all of my art on YouTube up until this point. I don't even remember when I bought that sketchbook. I don't remember where it was from. I remember nothing. So it has been a very long time since I've started a new sketchbook, and I had been looking for a while. I really wanted a sketchbook that wasn't ring bound and one that I could do like a full 2-page spread on. But the thing about doing primarily watercolor art is that, at least as far as I've seen so far, I don't know of any watercolor paper sketchbooks that are not ring bound. If you guys know of one, please leave it in the comments, because I would love to have a watercolor paper sketchbook that I can do like a full spread on. So I had been looking for a while for a sketchbook. I knew I was getting low on pages in my old one, and I'd been looking around, and I was just looking at what other art YouTubers use for their sketchbooks, and just in general what I'd heard good things about. And I ended up buying, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Talens, T-A-L-E-N-S. I'll have it linked in the description below. But Talens Art Creation Sketchbook. I bought the 5x8 in pink champagne. My first thoughts when I opened it was that I didn't realize that it was going to be like a rose gold shimmery pink. It's super pretty. Probably not the color I would have picked, but it was really pretty, and it was what was available in the size I wanted. But I love the size. I think this might be my most favorite size of sketchbook I have had to date. The paper is a really nice, like almost yellowy white, so it's really easy to look at, especially if you're drawing in a place with a lot of light. The light doesn't reflect off of like bright white paper and kind of hurt your eyes. You know that feeling? That definitely doesn't happen with this, which is super nice. I use really bright lights for filming, and it was very easy and comfortable to look at. So I use a lot of water when I paint. So when I first started the shell, I was really concerned that this was not going to hold up for me at all, because the paper instantly got wrinkled and kind of a little translucent. I feel like if you're a watercolor artist that doesn't use as much water and does a little bit thicker opacity, you probably wouldn't have ran into this issue at all. But despite it looking like it wasn't going to work at first, it actually ended up drying totally fine. The paper, you can definitely tell the paper had water on it. If you look at the back side of the page, it's a little wrinkly, but it's not bad at all. I think you probably could still do some like pencil sketching on the other side of the page. I probably wouldn't do watercolor again on the back side of the page, but I definitely think I could do some pencil sketching, maybe some ink. I haven't tried ink on this paper yet. That is on my list of things to try. I'm hoping to do Inktober this year, so I'm hoping to be able to do those pieces in this sketchbook. But I don't know if that's just me being overly picky, because I know if you like do a lot of marker art, those bleed through the page. A lot of ink bleeds through the page anyway. I was only a little disappointed about that because my goal with buying a non-spiral bound sketchbook was to do a full 2-page spread. So I don't know if that'll work out with this particular sketchbook or not. I can hear my mom's voice as she's watching this saying, "You just need to buy good watercolor paper." Yes, Mom, I know. I will buy a good watercolor sketchbook. Anyway, all that being said, I actually ended up being really happy with how everything turned out on this page. I pretty much exclusively used my Prima Marketing Incorporated Vintage Pastels. I use this all the time. This is like my most commonly used watercolor palette. It'll be linked in the description down below as well. I only used it and like 1 or 2 colors off of my Daniel Smith watercolor sample page. I'll try and link that down below too. So when I was painting the block of blue, I think is where you'll see some of the paper like got like the speckled, I don't know what was going on there. It got like a speckled thing happening when it got really wet. I was trying to make a nice gradient. That was by far the worst the paper reacted to me doing watercolor. But I did use a lot of water there, and it dried down totally fine. I was going to put more color over top of it, so I wasn't too worried. I figured it would end up covering, and it did. It covered totally fine. It dried down fine. I'm totally destroying the suspense here. You can already see it's drying down fine as the clips go on. And I love my fishy. My fish ended up being my favorite part about this. I've never drawn a fish before. I've never painted a fish before, and I really wanted to do it. And I was so happy with how it turned out. As you can see, I also did go over my watercolor with colored pencils, and those laid really nice over top of it. The paper wasn't pilling or disintegrating at all. Once it dried down, the paper seems really nice afterwards. I think we've reached the part of the video where the introvert has officially run out of things to talk about. So I hope you enjoyed this last little bit of just me painting, and I'll come back and see you guys for the outro. So that is it. This is the finished piece of art. Would I recommend this sketchbook? Absolutely, especially if you're somebody who uses less water in their watercolor paints than me. I totally think it's worth it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please hit subscribe if you'd like to join the cozy community here. And until the next video, remember to be kind and stay cozy.